Good afternoon, PKP here to do a market update for the week ahead. First off, I am not a financial advisor. My opinions are not financial advice. So this last week we got some inflation data. Was hotter than the FOMC's 2% target, but was tame. We also are in a low hire, low fire environment. So labor's actually not that bad right now. The NFP print we got was not too bad recently. So this week, IWM and RSP. RSP is the equal weight S&P 500 ETF. They both hit all-time highs on Thursday, and then kind of consolidated on Friday. SPY and the Diamonds put in a high on Monday, then traded off that high this week. So tomorrow, markets closed. Enjoy your day off. Tuesday, ADP weekly. It's the weekly number, so it's kind of like the weekly jobless claims that we get every week from BLS. Probably not be a big deal. The big thing is GDP and specifically the PCE inflation data we'll get on Thursday. Then we get flash PMIs from S&P Global on Friday. Hanging over our heads, we've got the Fed Cook argument with the Supreme Court. Can Trump fire her or not? If he can, he can put in another dove on the board of governors. And we have the rate decision. Not sure when the Supreme Court's going to decide that issue, and that could, if that's reversed, Trump has some other ways he can implement tariffs, but it could cause some havoc in the bond market with rate concerns. I'm sorry, with debt concerns. And we'll get the nomination for the Jerome Powell's replacement sometime in the next 2 weeks. Trump said he would nominate or at least announce it before January is over. We also have Iran, Venezuela, and Greenland. Some geopolitical things going on there. Reporting this week, we've got some blue chip stocks: 3M, Procter and Gamble, Johnson and Johnson, McCormick. These big names. Got some smaller banks also reporting. I'm interested in Netflix reporting Tuesday afternoon. Like to take a position in that, but just waiting to see about a bottom, if we can find a bottom there. Also, I like looking at transports, like real transports, like CSX, to see kind of their volumes are increasing or decreasing. So what I've done here on this chart, we've got S&P versus RSP, and we can see the outperformance. So there is a broadening going on right now, not just a handful of stocks leading, pulling the market higher. So what's leading? Let's see. Doing something a little different this week. I'm going to look at a couple things that are leading. The big outperformer is industrials. What I've done on TradingView here is taking the actual spider sector and dividing it by SPY, and then you can see like the outperformance. Like if it's rising, it's doing better than SPY. If it's falling, it's doing worse. So industrials is the big outperformer. Materials, XLB, also getting a good move versus the SPY, and then energy. Most likely, energy's got a nice pop the last couple weeks, probably because Venezuela. The laggards, Com Services, is really underperforming the S&P. Com Services, Meta, Google, although Google's done really well, Netflix is just going straight down. You can see what's in Com Services here. And utilities are underperforming as well. Tech, XLK, it's just going sideways, and Nvidia's included in this, and Nvidia is pretty much trading sideways. All right, let's go to. So the market is going higher, but what could be the fly in the ointment? What I'm kind of looking at is the 10-year right now. Is going higher. Like we know that the next Fed chair is going to be a Dove. They're going to want lower rates. That's who Trump's going to nominate, somebody that thinks like him. Um, the problem is rates are still going higher, and it's probably just the U.S. debt is just tremendous right now, $38 trillion. In 2020, it was like $25 trillion. So we've tacked on a whole lot of debt the last 6 years. Even after COVID, our elected officials kept spending kept up COVID level spending. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of, we got a little inverse head and shoulders. So this 10-year yield might go up, and that's probably going to mean trouble for equal weight S&P. People might pile back in Mag 7, but definitely be trouble for small caps. If rates are going higher, that's going to drag on the economy. All right, let's get to SPY. Enough of my soapbox. So the last time I did a video 2 weeks ago, it was down here, and I was looking at the 4-hour oscillators, and I said you probably get a pop, and it did. It went higher. Last week I didn't get a chance to make a video, but while we're on the daily, let me go back. My internet's been, oh, now it's freezing. My internet's been really slow the last 2 days, and now it's not loading. Let's go. All right. No, I want my indicators up. Why are my indicators not up? There you. Huh. Oh, because I don't have them up. All right. That wouldn't be why. Okay, so Wednesday price sold off, came down, hit this 20, bounced back up, and it's recovered the 9 EMA. It's kind of riding the 9 EMA right now. The one thing that's kind of has me concerned on the daily chart is this divergence. So it's easier to see. Shoot, I want that to be blue. All right. It's easy to see when there's no candles involved. So notice how price is making higher highs, and the CCI is making lower highs right here. So that's bearish divergence. On the 4-hour chart, we've got CCI and RSI have crossed the zero line. Looks like Cypher's pretty close to it as well. That normally means we could see some additional downside. So just be aware. I'm sorry, that was supposed to be the daily. The daily chart. You can see the divergence here. Kind of rolling over. Like I said, the 4-hour looks kind of nasty. I think we can get a couple more bars lower, so maybe a day or two, potentially 3. For support, let me bring this up here. For support for the S&P 500, this would be the levels for support and resistance I'd be looking at for the for SPY, excuse me. And let's go to IWM. The Qs are just kind of trading in a wedge, and this internet is ticking me off. The Qs just kind of a support trend line here, resistance trend line there. Did not make higher highs with the rest of the market. So IWM, monster move. Last video I was talking about this this falling wedge, And when this thing broke out, it really broke out. Like, it went crazy. Um, so, but now, I would not, if it were me trading, I would not chase this here. You've got a small gap here, and then a doji after a strong move. So I would be looking for possible retrace here. Um, you've got divergence on the CCI it's heading lower as price is heading higher. Look at the 4-hour chart real quick. Is that the 4-hour? I don't know. It's moving so slow here. All right. Not too bad. The oscillator's kind of hanging in there, just hovering right around oversold, but it doesn't look that bad. I think it's gonna. If I had to choose, I would say the potential for a retrace is there. This little gap here. Let me label that actually, because I don't have that on the chart. That little gap would be the first line of defense for any pullback, and then obviously this peak right here would be, if bulls hold that would be probably the green light to go long again. As far as levels, you can see the levels on my chart. These fib extensions have been pretty nice. As far as reacting with price, you can see how their price is reacting well with those levels. If you want to take note of those levels if you're trading IWM. Mag 7. Let's see here. So there was a channel here, and the Mag 7 have kind of lost some steam and lost its channel. So that outperformance, people are probably rotating, out of the Mag 7 into names that are having a little more movement. But if we get any big pullback, I'd be looking for a bounce here at this peak, and see if that bounces. That might be the sign to go long the market if that occurs. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Apple. If my internet will load. Okay. So, never mind. This channel, I don't know, a few weeks ago, back in December, I said, there's a rising wedge here. And I don't know why this is messed up. This is supposed to be here. Alright. And that would be here. Alright. So this channel, this rising wedge broke down. It ended up breaking down. And now we're getting to a point where Apple is looking pretty good. It did have a nice bounce. Bulls defended this open gap here. But the Bulls couldn't. This 9 EMA, let me pull that up. Bam! Just it got sold right off. So now there's this internal support trend line here that's right in the middle of this gap. Kind of got a little action right there on Friday. But if this gap fills, I may look at taking a position. I'll post it on Discord if I do. If not, this previous peak here, right at 250. I think there might be some buyers in there. One thing I'm looking at, there was large volume on this. Looking back at some of these other capitulation periods where you had large volume and then bam, it bounced. So looking possibly around the 250 area. Like I said, I will post it on Discord if I take a position. That's all I have for this video. If you have any questions, let me know.